Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, friends. Welcome to our special discussion show. Today, regularly, we have an open up show, but for the special request, because of this special request, this show, today's show, is going to be in full and full in English. And of course, the topic is very much needed. So that's why we decided to go on do it in English. So before we go into the program, I just want to keep brief introduction about our organization and also about IMD and the show we do. First of all, Voice of Men 360 is a non-profit organization. It is based in Toronto, Canada. And actually, Voice of Men 360 is part of International Men's Day. Some of you may heard or may not. International Men's Day has been here for more than 20 years. This year, 2020, is the 21st year. This week, we have a week-long celebration of International Men's Day is going on. And November 19th is actually the International Men's Day. So the topic we're going to discuss is very much related and very much important. Let me share the 6 pillars what we follow. The 6 pillars of International Men's Day. Number 1, to promote positive male role models, not just movie stars and sportsmen, but everyday working class men who are living decent and honest lives. Number 2, to celebrate men's positive contributions to society, community, family, marriage, childcare, and the environment. Number 3, to focus on men's health and well-being, social, emotional, physical, and spiritual. Number 4, to highlight discrimination against men in areas of social services, social attitudes, expectations, and law. Number 5, to improve gender relations and promote gender equality. Number 6, to create a safer, better world where people can be safe and grow to reach their full potential. These are the 6 pillars we follow, IMD follows too. So today we have a special show, which is let me bring that, the impacts of addictions in youth lives. It's very hard to digest that over 25 or 30 youths passed away or lost their lives in the past within the 3 months in our Tamil community. But overall, it is a general topic and it's very much important. So that's why we decided to have this show in English too, because we want to send out the message to the right audience. So we have a special person to discuss about it. Pirapajini Karunakaran. Pirapajini Karunakaran is a Tamil Canadian mental health worker currently working at Vasantham, a Tamil wellness center. Pirapajini graduated from Trent University with a Bachelor of Science in Psychology and graduate certificate in addictions and mental health. She is currently working with Ryerson University on a research study about suicide within Tamil Canadian men. With experience as a case manager working and with women and children who experienced abuse, she advocates for the importance in individualism, diversity, and culture in receiving mental health treatment. Since 2015, Pra has experience at Ontario Shores for Mental Health Sciences, working with youth in the vocational services and geriatric department. Pra is a teacher of mindfulness and dialectical behavioral therapy skills in its ways to promote mental wellness and increase quality of life. Let's welcome Prabha. How are you, Prabha?
I'm good. How are you?
Good, very good. So before going into the discussion, I want to ask you one question I always ask and I always wonder. What was your inspiration or influence for your current position or profession, can you, if I take you back 5 or 10, 15 years old, can you share some of this?
Yeah, so growing up, I had a real passion to help people. I want to provide some direct help in making people more happier in their day-to-day lives and just improve their quality of life. Even in my friends and family, I've noticed that mental health was something, a big factor that was stopping people from reaching, that happiness and, that the overall quality of life. So being a mental health worker, being a Tamil mental health worker, I think it means a lot because, the Tamil community really needs it. We've been through so much as a population, through war, through immigration, migration, and everything that comes with that. And I think, we need, as a Tamil mental health worker who knows the language, who knows the cultural factors, we need this and we need more, and we need something to decrease the barriers and to have more people getting mental health help and to just make it a little bit more accessible to the Tamil community.
Absolutely. It's really we need it. I think it's inspire others too. So let's start your discussion though. You can start anytime you are ready.
Okay, so a little bit about Vasantham. We are a Tamil Wellness Center. We're located in Scarborough, 2660 Eglinton Avenue. The intersection is, I believe it's Eglinton and Brimley. So what we do is we provide Tamil people with mental health services at low cost or free. It is for people who are experiencing mental health issues, any distress. We have programs for family members who have another family member in their household who has addictions or mental health, because we know that it gives stress to family members as well. So we do provide support for them. Everything right now is happening virtually. So COVID-19 hasn't stopped us from providing service to the people. It just changed the way that we deliver our services. So everything is happening either virtually, and if the person can't access a computer or laptop, then it's happening by phone.
Nice. So where do you want to start the program? Actually, I mean, not the program, the 4 areas, especially gambling or whichever you want to start comfortable with it. Go ahead.
Yeah, so I'm going to start with gambling and gaming in youth. This is something that we've noticed has increased over the past few years, and COVID-19 has brought a dramatic increase in the rates. This is because youth are spending so much more time at home. They're, more prone to going online and spending more time on the internet and video games. And I think when we think of gambling, older people, we kind of think of going physically into the casino and spending our money and time there. But gambling could happen online, especially now. I think that's where it's mostly happening. And especially with youth, they have so much access to all the gambling platforms online because of their phones and their computers. It's not just one, it's not like we all have to wait for a family computer at home. If they don't have their phone and they have their iPad or laptop, it's very, very accessible. And so this has caused the increase in the rates, and as well that they're spending so much more time at home, and you can't blame them because they're not allowed to go outside, for safety reasons. They're not allowed to interact with school friends or friends from, family members. So, there has been a dramatic increase in not just gaming and gambling, but in substance use as well. You mentioned that there has been some deaths in the Tamil community because of substance use, and especially in youth. And this is not just something that's been happening because of the pandemic. It's been happening before that, and of course the pandemic just makes it so much more harder. And one thing that I want to bring is that when this kind of stuff is talked about in the Tamil community, there's always this shame and stigma that come with having someone who has an addiction or mental health issue in the household. So I think we're trying to get rid of that stigma, and this youth group that we're providing, it gives a space where there's no stigma, there's no judgmentalness. It's everyone gets together and we talk openly and we support everybody openly, no matter what. We help each other with our experiences and we give each other's ideas and we learn from one another. So just a little bit about gaming and gambling. So research says that a person who has a gaming or gambling issues, they start their experience with gambling at approximately 10 years old. So even a person in their 50s and 60s, when you ask them, they start at a very young age. So it's best to address this problem earlier. The earlier you address the problem, the higher the rates are of success, and the higher the less likely that it will be a huge problem on the person's life. 63% of teenagers have gambled some point in their life. So they have either done it through the internet, through betting, or through other kind of ways. They have definitely gambled. And this was actually a 2008 study, so the rates have definitely increased within the years. And we have to remember that when we're talking about youth, their brains haven't developed fully, so they don't have the best ideas. They don't have the decision-making skills to know what's harmful for them, how it'll impact them in the future. They're very, very impulse-based, so they think of now. They think of, how can they get rid of their boredom now. They think about what gives them the thrill now. They don't really have that cognitive awareness to think about later in the future.
Quick
Yeah.
question. What age group we are talking about here, Prabha?
So when we're talking about brains that haven't developed properly, I think a brain fully develops around the age of 23, give or take a few years. So when we're talking about teenagers or someone in their early 20s, maybe 20, 21, their brain is just developing and it hasn't fully gotten the capacity that it needs.
Go ahead. Thank you.
So teenagers who gamble, they do have higher rates of engaging in alcohol misuse and binge drinking. They have higher rates of drug use, including marijuana. They have higher rates of suicide and school problems, as well as other mental health issues such as depression, like aggressional issues that can cause issues in their relationships, so with their family, their friends. And then of course when you think of gambling, it's like the immediate problem is that they have financial and eventually legal issues. Even as a youth, when you don't have much financial responsibility, there is, the gambling always needs to be, it always causes people to get more money. And when they don't have access to that money, they start going in unhealthy ways to get the money. So whether they're a youth and they don't have that much money on them right now, it could still be very, very problematic. So what I want to say is when you think of how youth start their gambling and gaming behavior, it's usually they pick up behaviors from early in their childhood. So they pick up behaviors from what they see around them. That's how kids learn. That's how, whether they're teenagers or 4-year-olds, they learn from their environment. So their parents, what they see on TV, what they see in their school environment, that really, really has an effect on children. So one of the common ways that kids pick up this behavior is watching their fathers play card games and making bets. So when you're at a family get-together and kids are watching their fathers, maybe older brothers, cousins, making bets on sports or just playing card games, they learn that this is normal and they start picking up on their behavior. A kid doesn't know what's normal when the limit is. Do you know what I mean? A kid, they just kind of do it because they think, oh, Amma and Appa is doing this, so it must be good. They know the proper behavior, so they follow what their family does. And then also nowadays, when you think about kids, they have access to iPads, like the PlayStations, all that stuff, where it's easy for them to lose control control. They don't have, it's not physical where they're dealing with the money in front of them. Oftentimes they don't know what they're getting themselves into. And then as well, school life has a huge impact on children. So if their friends are into it, if majority of their school peers are into it, it's very, very likely that that child would want to engage in that behavior as well.
Is there any, I'm just wondering, is there any ratio between male and female, like boys and girls,
Yeah, so I think it's very common. I don't think it's proven that it's more common in males, especially teenagers. And then on top of that, it's males with social issues. So if your child is a little bit more quiet and introverted, they're not as outgoing and they're not as talkative with other friends and family members, it's more likely that they're going to have gaming and gambling issues because of just their preferences. They prefer to be alone. They prefer to have that like virtual interaction rather than that face to face. And then the signs that a child is having gaming issues or gambling issues is that it starts to affect their schoolwork. So if parents see a decrease in their marks, if they start to see the way their interaction changes with their friends and family members, for instance, they might not be spending a lot of time with their friends physically. I know right now we're in this COVID situation, so it's a little different, but in a regular day-to-day pre-COVID or post-COVID, if the kid is spending more time not with their friends as much as they used to, and they're spending that much time on focusing on video games or online gambling or just something doing online, then it might be a sign of a problem. And then also, I actually heard this at work where parents were telling me that it impacted their child's weight. And, you might think that as a very, very like drastic, they might think like, oh, he's just playing games here and there. It's not going to affect their weight. But what it is that it starts to affect the way they eat. And then it starts to affect the way that they get physical activity. So they're going to be spending more time with the technology, and they're not going to be, that engages them, that creates them to eat more, eat unhealthy, and they won't have that much time and interest to get that physical activity. And then another sign that this might be an issue is that they have started to borrow money from people. If they don't need the money for something else, they might not openly say it. It's always good to like keep track of who your child borrows money from, whether it's you, friends, other family members. Just try to kind of ask them why they're using that money and what they're using it towards. And then what I like to say is that it's best to address the problem early. So try talking to your child at a younger age. If you have a boy, for instance, and you see that he's really engaged in video games or even like on the tablet or iPad, then set the boundaries early at a younger age so that it's ingrained in their head and it won't upset them later in their life when you put these rules in. And then if a TV or a computer can be in a common area in the house, then that makes it all the more better. That way you have more control over, as a parent, you have more control over how much time is being spent, and you can also monitor what they're doing. And just set limits. You can tell your child, maybe you can only play video games after you do your homework, or not on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. You can do it the other days, but not these days. This helps the kid not get totally. It helps them have a little bit more control over their behavior. The other thing that I was going to talk about, because it's 7:50, so I was going to briefly talk about youth substance use. And this is something that has significantly increased during the pandemic time, not just with youth, but with adults as well. But in Ontario, they actually found that around 65% of children from grade 7 to grade 12 have reported misusing. So they haven't just used alcohol and drugs. They've used it to the point where they would even consider it a misuse. That's 65%. So that's a majority of more than half of the youth in grades 7 to 12. And the most commonly used substances are alcohol and marijuana because it's a little bit more accessible and legal. And like I said before, everything has increased. So that's why this program we have started, it helps family members, it helps youth that know that they're having an issue during this time. And I think this is a good time to bring this program in. It's very, very needed. And of course, we know there's more harm that when it's a youth because their brains haven't fully developed. So when they start using these kind of substances, it has more impact on the youth's brain than it does on an adult's brain. Again, like you were asking before about gender, males are more likely to be at risk. Males with who are a little bit more introverted, so they're more shy. Males who have problem at home, females also who have problems at home, any social pressure from school, even pressure from their house. We actually thought there was actually a study, and they found that parents who put a lot of pressure, and this is really, really common in Tamil households, where parents say, you have to do really good in school, you have to do all these extracurricular activities. That increases the pressure on the child, and that child is more likely to engage in substance use and substance misuse than a child where their parents are not forcing them to participate in extracurricular activities, and the parent is a little bit more nicer towards them in terms of school grades. And really quick, what parents can do to help is, of course, model healthy behavior. If you're around the child, drink in moderation. Maybe turn down a drink here and there, so they know that they can do that as well in the future. They know that that's a thing, and they know that that's okay, and they're less likely to give in to the pressure come that time where they're experiencing it themselves. And also better communication with your child. So when you think about talking to your children about substance use, make sure you don't lecture them. Give them, because lecture brings that shame. If that kid does end up engaging in problematic substance use, they'll feel really shameful because they know that this is the way their parents view substance use. So if you openly talk about it with your children, what their opinion is, what's going on at school, then they can tell you what they're going through, and you have a little bit more understanding, and the relationship is better. The child is more likely to come to you and tell them, like, Amma, this is what I'm going through at school, this is what my friends are doing. They're just more likely to be honest with you. And if you are experienced, if you're a parent and your child does engage in substance use and you notice that, make sure that you stay calm. Make sure that you don't address it when they are they have used. Make sure that you talk to them at a time where they're sober, and talk responsibly and talk calmly. It doesn't help when you're up here. The child will also get up there, and that doesn't solve the issues. And also understand why your child feels the need to engage in substance use. They have a lot of pressure. Don't add pressure to that. And addiction doesn't come with, it's not the substance that's the problem. I think a lot of people think that it's the substance that's the problem. Addiction is a lot more deeper than that. It's usually the child. They are looking for something to make themselves feel better. So you can't really blame alcohol. You can't really blame marijuana. A lot of people think that it might be because marijuana got legalized, but the child, more often than not, is experiencing some type of mental distress on their own that causes them to engage in these problematic behaviors. They're probably experiencing some type of low mood, anxiety, or depression that pushes them towards that pathway. And I'm just noticing the time, so we have about 6 minutes. So really quickly about our group.
Sure, go ahead, and then I have a few questions too. Go ahead.
Sure. So I just want to end it off in talking about our group. This is for youth from ages 14 to 22. They don't need any type of diagnosis or any assessment. It's completely free of charge. It's happening in English. I am running the groups, so it will be me. It won't be like an older Tamil person. And yeah, it will be happening in English, so they're a little bit more comfortable. And because of everything that's happening right now and the situation that we're in, it's happening virtually through Zoom. Our program comes with a support group where they can get together and talk amongst themselves, and I'll be there to help and teach healthy coping mechanisms and how to deal with triggers and cravings. And as well, it comes with individual therapy so that they can get that one-on-one support. And sometimes they might not be open in sharing their personal experiences with the group. So they'll be able to talk about that and get help in individual therapy. And that's about it. So we do have a group for gaming, gambling, and substance use. And everyone is welcome, all youth between the age of 14 to 22 is welcome to join. If parents have any questions, they can reach out to Vasantham and they can give us a call to get more information.
Sure. How about the programs? You have certain programs for each, areas, gambling or addiction or gaming, or you have all of them in one program? How do you?
So we have all of them in one program. It is the common addictions, and then we do an individual will talk a little bit more on their personal struggles.
And what are the days? Is there any specific days you guys run the program, or?
So we actually haven't started it yet. We're in the process of just getting youth to join, and then we'll be able to start and figure out a day that works better for everyone.
So the other important aspect is how about in terms of there's two questions I have. One is when you support the whoever going through that struggle or the situations, the youth. But how about the parents? Do you guys help them to family support, something like that?
Yeah, so at Vasantham, we do have something called a caregiver program. And this is for family members who have another family member that has an addiction, because we know that they also experience a lot of stress and just more worries than the average person. So they are able to come in and get some support as well.
And how about let's say if the youth doesn't want to come to the program, do the parents have to have their support, or they have to agree that, okay, you know what, I am ready, I want to go and take the program? Do they need the permission, or how that works?
Well, it would be essentially the youth would have to be okay with it, because they are the one that's coming in. It's kind like Pirapajini, there's not much like point in a youth coming and they're not opening up and they're not getting help. When sometimes they're a little bit more resistant when they start, which is okay and which is understandable, but we would want them to be open to getting the support from the others.
Like in most cases, the challenges comes, Prabha, you know that even though the parents and even the kids, they know, even their friends, they know that they are going through this life challenging, or is this leading to a very critical situation, but they still ignore it or avoid it. They don't want to come. I don't know, like maybe because of it's a Tamil community center, that's why we don't want to come, or they don't really, in generally speaking, they don't want to come. So in those situations, what are any other solutions? Because personally, I come across a lot of situations in close family circles, and then it is very hard, very, very hard. And also one other thing is, as a parent from coming from back home, we don't know these things, right? So we are not get used to it. So we don't know how to react in those situations. So still we are carrying the old cultural and everything. So it's very hard to react and then take care of that those people. So is there any other solutions how we can bring them, at least, okay, you know what, why don't we try this or something like that?
Yeah, so I heard a lot about how the parents are not they don't know the resources, they don't know how to handle it because this is not something that was common back at home, this issue. So Vasantham, we do on every first and third of the Monday of the month at 7 p.m. we do like a community awareness Zoom event where we talk about different issues that are happening in the Tamil community and mental health and addictions wise. One of the hot topics has been parenting youth with mental health and addictions. This is where, as a Tamil community, we get together and we discuss things that can help the future generation and even our present generation ourselves and the parents themselves. So parents can learn through that. And also, if you just give us a call or any other Tamil mental health centers, they can direct you from there what to do. Even if we can't help you ourselves, we can definitely link you to other Tamil speaking services.
Definitely.
And I think you're right. There's a lot of stigma and shame. So a lot of people don't want to get help from Tamil people because they think, oh, they're going to talk about it. But as a company, we're very, very professional. And I think all mental health companies, we respect confidentiality. Nothing gets out. Everything is handled in a very, very professional manner.
Absolutely. See, the kids, they know somehow, but in their back there in their mind, they don't want to go. They don't want to seek help. That's a problem.
Yeah.
Yes. But I want to end this with this message, though. See, last number of months, or within 3 months or 4 months, we lost a number of lives, 25 or more than 25, 30, nearly 30 young fellows. So they are not here anymore. So think about those 1.22 to 5 millions of sperm coming into this universe, and then 1 or 2 lives is getting into this earth, and then having starting their journey, and then end up with middle of their life. If they haven't even started their life, but they finish their life within a couple of years. So it is not, we cannot, it is not really sad, but we cannot adjust it or digest that situation or the news. It is very, really, really critical for our community, not only our community, but also other communities as well, because specifically we are talking about Tamil community, but also we have lots of other deaths and other situations in other communities too. They are going through the same time, same situations too. So thank you, Prabha. Is there anything you want to add finally?
I want to let everybody know that this is not a family issue. This is a societal issue. So we're all in this together. We're all here to support each other, and no such thing as shame. Don't think about any shame. Don't think about what others have to think. We're here to support, and we're doing our best to help you and to help ourselves to make ourselves a stronger and healthier community. And just keep that in mind whenever you feel like you need to reach out, and definitely reach out.
Exactly. One more thing I want to add, that whoever is coming to our show, open up on Sundays, and then they share. I'm talking about outside of our community. They share their life stories, whatever they been through. So it is not a shame. Think about the life after you have, if you seek the help, and then you get the help, and then think about the life after that, the process. So you have a long way to live, long way to do so many things. So long, there's so much things you can do in this world. So you don't want to end your life. Thank you, Prabha, and for this great information and a special discussion. Though, please, friends, subscribe our YouTube channel, Voice of Men 360. This is a special discussion we needed, especially this week. That's why I brought this up, because we are having a International Men's Day. International Men's Day is only adult or anybody. It's also helping the community, giving, creating awareness too. So take this message, please, please, please take this message and share with somebody. And this way, at least directly or indirectly, this message can help somebody. So if we can save one person life,
For sure.
that's enough. So that's my message. Thank you, guys. Thank you, Prabha. Thank you, Vasantham.
Thank you for having me. Thank you.
Thank you. Take care.
Bye.